What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to talk about trade scenarios for the Pistons, what we like, what we don't like. There's been a lot of talk about the Pistons. Jerami Grant is the man that we're all kind of looking at on the Pistons. So we're going to ask Craig, what are some trade scenarios he likes? What does he not like? And, just kind of what a good trade would look like for the Pistons and what we should kind of be looking for as the trade deadline comes up
For
closer.
sure.
So, Craig, let's get right into it.
Do it.
What are the three scenarios? You've done a ton of videos on these. What are the three scenarios or trades that you've been like, yeah, I like that?
Yeah. So, and here's the thing. I'm glad you said that. We have done a ton of videos on this. So if you haven't seen those Jerami Grant trade scenario videos, go back, check them out. I think we did like 10 different teams or something like that. I mean, I feel like Jerami Grant's been rumored to every team. I didn't want to do 32 videos on it,
Right.
but people will keep watching them. So I'm going to keep making them. But I think when I look at the three best, it took me a while to get into one that I even liked. We were looking at the Knicks and I was like, I really don't like that. The Lakers, I don't like that. But then we got to the Minnesota Timberwolves. It was actually a beat writer for the Timberwolves. He put out a trade scenario that said we would get Malik Beasley, McDaniels, and a first-round pick for Grant. Now, I don't think the Wolves would give that up, but I'd be all in. Like, I would be absolutely all in. You get a young rookie player, you get a proven two-guard scorer, and a first-round pick. I'm in. I did a tie for the third best, by the way. I kind of did it in the top three best, top three worst things. And the T-Wolves were tied with the Pacers. I like the idea of just trading Jerami Grant straight up for Miles Turner of the Pacers. Good shot blocker. He can stretch the floor being a 5. He's not really a lob threat, but he is a elite paint rim protector. This is good. And center is a definite position of need for the Pistons. And he's, I think, 3 years younger than Grant. So it kind of brings that timeline into a little better perspective, I guess. So T-Wolves Pacers are tied for my third best scenario, but truth be told, I'd rather have the T-Wolves. So maybe we'll knock the Pacers off that. Number 2 is the Bulls. This is the Bulls. If you didn't watch this video, I did this with special guest. We brought Cal, our boy Cal, on, and he really broke down what the Bulls look like. And he was willing to part ways with Pat Williams and a pick. So I don't know he's not the Bulls GM, but if the Bulls are thinking something similar to Pat Williams and a first rounder, I'd take that all day. I'd take that all day. I think I'd even consider Pat Williams and a second rounder because he matches the timeline. We know Troy Weaver, there was rumors and rumblings that he really wanted Pat Williams in the draft when we ended up taking Killian because Pat Williams was already off the board to the Bulls, I think at 4 or something. So this is something that it's almost like, hey, we get a little better draft pick, what we really wanted that year, and we get to keep our draft pick from that year. Feels like a pretty good value there. And I think a lot of people think that Pat Williams will be a better version of Jerami Grant eventually. Good defensive stopper. You ready for number 1?
Yep.
Pipe dreams. Here we come.
Is it going to be Boston?
No. I didn't put Boston on here because I don't think there's any way we actually do get Jaylen Brown.
Okay.
Like I don't see a world in which that happens. So I'm going Atlanta Hawks. I really like John Collins. And I don't know how much you've seen him play, but just the inside outside game, the dude is he's efficient in the way he scores. He rebounds. He could play small ball 5. I understand it keeps that kind of log jam with Sadiq Bey. But here's the thing about John Collins that's a little different than Jerami Grant, at least the role Jerami Grant has for the Pistons. He's not ball dominant. He's much more passive. He doesn't have to have a high usage rate in order to have a high impact. That's why I love that trade. And I'm going to say something really weird right now. I'd give up a pick for him. Like I'd give up Jerami Grant and a pick. That wouldn't make it my number 1 trade. That would I'd be okay with it.
Right.
But I wouldn't have any problem giving up our draft, not this year's draft pick, but the year after. Like, I don't think I'd hate it because when you have John Collins, you're one piece away. With Cade and Collins, you're one piece away from being a legit contender.
Yeah. And that's what you and I've talked about is we're just no rim protector, no just we have Cade, and then it's funny because like you said before, it kind of falls off from a perspective of it all looked kind of good, but it's just, yeah, we don't have height. Just some things that we're missing. So those are really good. I like that. Now, what are your three worst trades that you'd be like, oh my gosh, I don't, because really a bad trade in this scenario puts us back a year, or you know what I mean? It would just be like,
I mean,
dude,
it could put us back even further. And
yeah.
I think the only, you ready for the weird thing? If it was a really bad trade, the only thing positive that could come out of it is that eventually that protected pick that we have given to the Rockets, we would just not cash in on it and we'd keep getting high draft picks because our team wouldn't be that good.
All right. Okay.
And
Yep.
Cade would get upset. He might leave after 7 years or
Oh,
whatever. Anyways,
yeah.
we don't want to, the whole NBA making players happy thing. Like this is the time we live in. But I have three trades that I wouldn't really like. One of them was with the Kings. I think that there's a lot of rumors that Marvin Bagley is someone that Weaver and the Pistons really, really like. I don't dislike Marvin Bagley. He's just not a player on the caliber of Jerami Grant. He was a number 2 overall pick, but he has not even come close to living up to the hype. I was listening to Locked On Pistons, a podcast, and they had the Locked On Kings guy doing an interview. And he was saying that he thought if the Pistons called the Kings with 2 second-round picks, they would give him Bagley. And I'm like, I would much rather do that than get rid of our best trade asset, wouldn't you?
Right.
It doesn't make sense. And who else on the Kings is exciting you other than De'Aaron Fox, who I don't think is touchable, right? With what we have. Like, well, I don't know. I don't understand it.
The Kings have always been funny. And you and I talked about this last time, just been terrible since Chris Webber. Is that what he was saying? Or it's just like, what in the world? Well, and it's so true.
He was talking about how the last 20 years have just been terrible because it feels like they have talent. And then when that talent goes somewhere else, they do well. But then for some reason in Sacramento, nobody can figure it out. And they have talent now.
Yeah.
Right. They have talent now and they just can't even be a 500 team. Anyways, this isn't a Kings sports talk Sacramento. This is that is a nice ring to it though. Maybe we should do that too.
Yeah.
No, but sports talk Detroit would say, I don't like this. I'd be fine for Bagley for 2 seconds. I think that would be a phenomenal trade. Hang on to Grant. Yeah. Okay. Just don't trade Grant for Bagley. And that would drive me nuts. All right. Number 2, the worst thing is any spare parts trade. And what I mean by this is a trade where we get multiple names or multiple like kind of okay picks or something like that. I don't want to trade Jerami Grant for spare parts. He's worth more than that.
Yep.
Like you think about what a trade for spare parts is. I compare it to a car, right? Like the engine on my van just died, right? But I was still able to sell the car. Like that's a spare parts trade in. Like Jerami Grant, he has an engine and a motor that's still running at its most efficient rate. Like, don't trade it for spare parts. So that's my number 2. I don't know if it's a cop out. I know it's not a specific team. I just know we'd be really frustrated if that happened.
Yep. Nope. That's good. That's good. So this one's going to be your worst, right? This last one.
Worst. Okay. The worst trade we could possibly do, and it's for 2 reasons. It's the Lakers. It's the LA Lakers. The reason that I hate the trade, I don't dislike it, I hate it, is because you have the media hype train trying to tell us that Taylor Horton-Tucker is a good basketball player. Like, he's not. If he was that good, the Lakers wouldn't be like 4 games under 500 right now. Right? Like, he would be a decent enough complementary piece to LeBron James and Russell Westbrook that they might actually win a few games. Like, he's not good, and their picks are worth nothing. I know I said I'm happy about the pick in 2027. It could be a good thing because they could be even worse then. But I'm out. Right? I'm out.
Perfect. That's perfect. So
and the second reason I hate it, by the way, is Jordan's the GOAT. I'm going to say it. So I like watching, even though LeBron is playing good basketball right now, I like watching it not translate to wins. So I'm okay. Sorry. I know you think LeBron is the GOAT. We're split here.
Yeah.
But when I see LeBron putting up empty numbers, it just makes me happy.
He's putting up some big time numbers, but like you said, so as a Michael Jordan fan, you're like, don't like that. But then it's like,
can't remember the last time Jordan put up big time numbers and was 4 games under 500.
Right. You're like, but he's not winning. So you just, exactly. So back to the trade. So you're looking at it. You just mentioned it. So the last two questions I have, you kind of mentioned what, because we don't know what's going to happen, right? It could be another team, but just like the framework of a bad trade versus a framework of a good trade. So you kind of mentioned the
Yeah.
bad trade was just the spare parts
Yeah.
trade. Any more
Spare
you want to add
parts.
to that? Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I don't want an older player. I don't want an older player. I don't want a guy that's Jerami Grant's age or older. Like that
Right.
doesn't make sense. The only reason we trade Jerami Grant is for the timeline. And I kind of have the timeline as in the middle thing. Does the trade fit our timeline, which is start winning in a couple years, maybe a
Right.
year. I mean, you could jumpstart it, but I don't want an old player in return. I don't understand why people are like, "Ooh, I like this center," or "I like this guy." It's like he's 29 years old. Like it doesn't fit. So older players, spare parts, those are the bad parts of a trade that I think we'd be really frustrated in
Okay.
seeing. Yeah.
And then,
Um,
yeah, and then
Go
a
ahead.
good trade.
Okay. Good trade. Good trade. It's position of need, right? So it's three things. In my opinion, it's three components. It's timeline that fits our timeline. So young players that have talent or draft picks, preferably young, talented player and a draft pick,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it's also position of need. I think we desperately need two things on this team. I think we need a starting caliber scoring guard. So that's why I like the Timberwolves trade. I think Beasley could be that person. Frank Jackson has proven that he can be a scorer, but off the bench. Like that's his best role because he can't just come firing like crazy with the starting unit. The other guys need the touches. So a scoring guard and a center. We need a center so bad. Like that is the number one need. If we can come out of this trade for Grant with a starting caliber center for the next 3 to 5 years, we win. We win the trade because Saddiq Bey has proven he can match the production of Jerami Grant at the starting when he starts at the 4.
Right.
Like it's that simple. And he also, it's like somebody pushes a dumb button whenever Jerami Grant's in the lineup and Saddiq Bey starts to struggle. I don't understand it, but we'll figure it out in the future. So those are the things that I would say are the aspects of a good trade: timeline fit and position of need fit. That's what you want to do.
Perfect. Yep. No, I love it. I know that everyone's really enjoyed the trade talk rumors. So we
Yeah, it's
definitely
been
want to,
fun. It's
yeah,
been fun.
jump on together and just like,
A boy can dream.
yeah, exactly. And I think what makes it so fun is like you can dream and think of different things, but then in the
Yeah.
back of your mind, you're like, just don't screw this up and set us
Yeah.
back 2
Yeah.
years. I mean, it would be killer. So no, you
Then
nailed it,
just
man.
keep Jerami Grant, right?
Just
Just
keep him.
keep him. If you're gonna trade him for not enough, keep him and either assign him to a long-term extension or trade off season, trade next year. I know that sounds cold or whatever, but like you got to do what's best for the team. Like don't be dumb here. If you get a good offer, take it. If you don't, he's a good player. He can help you in the next few years. Very much. Sorry,
right.
I'm done talking.
No.
You can finish the video.
No, you're good. You're good. I just think you nailed it. You nailed all the stuff that we wanted to hit on because we put up you've put so many videos out. We want to just put it all in one. Hey, best, worst, what are we looking at? What do we don't like? So you nailed it, man. Hey, if you like Pistons, Lions, consider subscribing and we will see you guys on the next one.
See ya.